In this video, I'm sharing all that you need to know for the year of the Wood Dragon. And this year began on February 4th, 2024. That's the Chinese Solar New Year. The Chinese Lunar New Year is on February 10th, 2024. And having the Lunar New Year fall after the Solar New Year means that this is a blind year, which means you could feel a bit out of sync or perhaps feel unprepared for what's coming up this year. And as I mentioned in my prior video, this year is a momentous one as it marks the transition into period 9. I'll put a link to that video below. It gives you all kinds of success tips for the next 20 years. We'll be in period 9 for the next 20 years. And also, I have a video on the Chinese zodiac forecast. So for each of your Chinese animals that represent your year of birth and your month of birth and your hour of birth, there is energy behind those animals for the year of 2024. And I've got a whole video on all of that. So make sure that you check out those videos. So each year, there is an element and a Chinese animal associated with the new year. And this helps us understand what type of year is in store for us. And the 12 animals of the Chinese zodiac cycle through each of the 5 elements. So there's actually a 60-year cycle. This year, we have the Wood Dragon. And the last time we had this exact combination was 60 years ago in 1964. We also had this energy in April of 2022. Those time periods give you a sense for what this year will be like. So just to give you an idea of what was happening in 1964, since that was the exact energy, the Wood Dragon, as we're going to be having this year. In 1964, people were really demanding change. There was a war on poverty that began. The first birth control came on the market. Lyndon Johnson signed into law the Civil Rights Act, abolishing racial segregation in the US in public schools, public accommodations, travel, and voting registration. So that was a big deal. Some countries became self-governing or became their own republics, the Bahamas, Kenya. Nelson Mandela was sentenced to life in prison in 1964. There were other battles and revolutions in other places. There were also natural disasters. There were 3 typhoons that struck South Vietnam, causing immense flooding and 7,000 deaths. There was a Christmas flood of 1964, which killed 47 people during the holiday season. It began with this huge tropical storm in the Pacific, and it brought also record snowfalls to Northern California, to Oregon and Washington, and accumulations as much as 10 feet in the Cascade Mountains. That's a lot of snow. And then we also had some musical big names that came into play in 1964. The Rolling Stones went on tour for the first time, and the Beatles mania began with their first album release. Willie Mays became the highest baseball player that year with a $105,000 contract, which seems so tiny compared to what people are paid now. And then also 1964, just fun fact, marked the birth of Mary Poppins. That's when that movie came out, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So some of those fun things that happened in 1964 as well. So let's look at the nitty-gritty details of this coming year, 2024. Looking at the personality of the dragon gives us a glimpse into what's in store for the coming year. And dragons, interestingly, are the only mythical creature in all of the Chinese zodiac. All the other animals are real animals. Dragons are not. They're a mythical creature, and they're definitely more powerful and larger than life compared to our rabbit from last year. In Chinese culture, dragons are considered really lucky. They represent wealth, they represent power, they represent change and growth, creativity and progress. And dragons are also considered a protector. You may have heard me mention a dragon-headed turtle that I use for a cure. That dragon energy is very protective. Dragons are also highly intuitive. And so we have that intuition piece coming in for 2024 in a much stronger way. In the Western part of the world, dragons got a little bit of a bad rap, right? We perceive dragons differently. They've come to be known as these fire-breathing killers, ferocious and mean. They often live alone in a cave away from society. So there's these different perspectives on the dragon. But either way, the energy of this year is very different from our genteel rabbit energy from last year. This year, we have a yang wood dragon, so that wood element paired with the dragon, and the dragon's natural element is earth. What's interesting and a little bit disturbing is that this year, all of the elements in this year's chart have yang energy. So there's no yin, it's all yang. This year may feel a bit unbalanced because of that. Yang or yang is the light. It is the white of the yin-yang circle, and it represents daytime. Yang is masculine. It's action-oriented. It's closed or contained. It's hard, resistant, and often tense. The yang energy is strong and it tends upward, like the climb of a roller coaster. And with so much masculine energy, all of this yang energy, everyone may be vying for control and not listening to each other this year. There may be a lot of arguing, a lot of selfishness. And with the yin missing, we need to really focus on creating that for ourselves this year. So finding that quiet time, that darkness, tapping into our intuition, listening, creating spaciousness for ourselves, being open and receptive, and just those things that represent that feminine yin energy is what we want to do this year. So the wood element is connected with growth, expansion, creativity, vitality. It's a good year to start things when we have this wood energy. And wood also supports those people who are adventurous, who are strong, who are clever, who are independent and assertive, courageous, competitive, visionary, adaptable, all of those kind of things, right? And the wood energy supports leaders and entrepreneurs, and those who enjoy exploring and trying new things will feel more supported this year. Wood is symbolized by this big sturdy tree. It can also be inflexible and stuck in one spot, or it can be decaying. The other thing that's important to note is that the wood element this year is in conflict with the dragon's natural element of earth, because the wood destroys or pierces earth. So if you have a piece of wood, you can jam it into the ground and pierce the earth. And again, that may indicate conflict. It can also indicate natural disasters such as earthquakes or mudslides, that type of thing. Dragons need the element of water to rejuvenate them, and there's very little water in this year's chart to support that. Another element that we are missing this year is fire. If you were born in a year ending in 6 or 7, which I happen to be, you do have fire in your chart, which is a boon because you will be in high demand. And this also helps balance that energy for you. You can, of course, also add the element of fire to your life and to your home with the colors red, purple, orange, magenta, bright patterns. Triangles symbolize fire, as well as candles and real fire. So those are ways that you can balance that as well. The hexagram for 2024 gives us more clues yet again about the energy for this year. And this year's hexagram is the number 38, which is fire over lake. The nature of flames is to rise. The nature of water is to descend. So they are moving away from one another. There's a lack of communication, and there may also be vertical issues with the body due to this up and down energy. This hexagram is titled opposing or opposition or disharmony. This signals the potential for polarization, cross purposes, incompatibility, estrangement, or even inner conflict. And so, what you want to do to help navigate this energy is to establish relationships slowly, remain flexible, and be open to new opportunities. And there are some questions, again, to ask from this Hillary Barrett book, The I Ching, that I mentioned in my period 9 video. And the questions to ask yourself this year are, what if the difference were not a threat? How could this tension be creative? And the third question, if you can't see eye to eye, what can you see? Really important there. Okay. And then 2024 does have a spirituality pillar, similar to the spirituality focus for period 9. And this can really lend itself well to focusing on inner growth, to healing, to empathy, religious practice, to diving deeper into some of those life questions about why you're here, what your purpose is, what your dharma is, if you will, in the grand scheme of things. And so again, if you need help with that, I do have a whole program, the Love Your Life program, that provides coaching for life essentially, and walks you through step by step how to connect with your angels and guides, how to balance the energy in your space using Feng Shui, and then provides that ongoing support in the form of group coaching. So if you're interested in that, please check out the link below and let's chat. The outlook for industries is the next thing that I want to share with you. So there are some industries that are earmarked to perform well in 2024, and those would be industries associated with the elements of metal, wood, and fire. And that would include, for the metal industries, banking, engineering, automotive, high tech, beauty, skincare. Those are all considered metal industries. Wood industries would be health and fitness, holistic approaches, textiles, media, newspaper, magazines. Fire industries would be the crypto, and just note that dragons have this ability to see the future and to see trends that are coming. So if you are a dragon, that's something that can be helpful to you this year. And also fire industries are money and stocks that will do well. And then, as I mentioned previously, for period 9, coaches, counselors, teachers, mediators, people that resolve conflicts will be good this year. And then challenging industries this year are the earth and water industries. Earth industries would include property, mining, insurance. Water industries would be communication, transportation, shipping, anything associated with that. Okay, the last thing that I want to share before I give you the things to do this year to create a good, successful year is the numerology for this year. So 2024 is an 8-year in numerology, which is about success. Yay, we love that. And in particular, successful business. The number 8 is an abundance number, so you might receive unexpected money this year. Louise Hay's book, Colors and Numbers, is one that I use literally every year. I figure out, I'm kind of a geek that way. I figure out not only my year number, but I also figure out my monthly numbers and my daily numbers because they're associated with colors. And then I try to wear that color when I have that day. So this is actually a purple day, which there is a little bit of purple in what I'm wearing. And so I try to kind of follow along with that. It's fun for me. And like I said, I'm a little bit geeky about that, but her book is just this simple little book that walks you through that. I'll put a link to that below. And she shares that the number 8 is a good year for being ambitious, for going after what you want. It's also a good year for learning and expanding your wisdom. 8 actually correlates in Feng Shui to the knowledge sector of the Bagua. And so that expanding your knowledge is really good for this year. And so I have sort of a laundry list of things that you can do to support yourself through this year, things to focus on or do this year. I didn't even number them because there's quite a few. So focus on your inner growth and spirituality. We've been talking about this quite a bit in the past video and this one. Manage your thoughts and emotions. That's going to be really important. Tap into your intuition. Start something new or learn something new. Embrace that technology, right? Use your good judgment and make decisions. You can do financial and legal work this year is really good with that number 8 energy. Sign contracts and leases. Be self-reliant. Be dependable. Pay your bills, right? Have a health checkup. Get to the gym. Move your body. All of those things are always good, but that's also good this year. Be truthful and have integrity, right? Help others who have less. So do some charitable work this year. Organize and reorganize. That's also a good thing to do in an 8-year. Tap into that abundance energy. You can wear pink. Pink is actually the color for the number 8. So you can wear pink this year to tap into that abundance energy. You could also wear colors associated with wood, which would be turquoise, aquas, greens. That helps you tap into that wood energy of the wood dragon. You can also wear earth, which is the dragon's natural element. Earth colors would be beige, brown, peach, coral, or you can wear fire colors, as I mentioned, to balance that energy of the missing fire. And that would be the colors of red, purple, orange, magenta to bring balance. And then to be in harmony with wood, with that energy of wood, spend time in nature, work with plants, walk in the woods, that type of thing. Be in harmony with the earth, spend time in open areas or in the mountains, in your garden, work with the earth elements such as stones or ceramics. And then if you are considering home improvements, I would definitely want you to consult with a Feng Shui expert so that you don't disturb the challenging stars. As I mentioned before, flying stars, there are specific directions and spaces in your home that are positive and can be enhanced and also challenging for this 20-year period, period 9, but also for this coming specific year. And so I can help you with that. If you're looking to do some home improvements, I can help you with that. I can give you good dates as well. If it's something that you already have planned, I can give you good dates to start. That doesn't mean it has to be concluded then, but I can give you the good dates to start. Lastly, you can work with the Louise Hay affirmation for the year. I am the prosperous, successful executive of my world. Check out the period 9 video, which is all about creating success for the next 20 years. And I'll see you on the next video.